A peaceful life. In a far-off corner of the galaxy, there was a small, serene planet named Arian. On this tranquil world, a human colony thrived in harmony with the peaceful surroundings. The colony was known for its beautiful landscapes, lush forests, and sparkling rivers. Its inhabitants enjoyed a quiet life, far from the conflicts that plagued other parts of the galaxy. Among the residents of this peaceful colony was a young family. Sarah and Tom Anderson were devoted parents who cherished every moment with their little daughter, Lily. Lily was a bright and cheerful child, with curious eyes and an endless sense of wonder. She loved exploring the meadows, chasing butterflies, and playing with her pet robot dog, Sparky. The family often spent their evenings under the stars, enjoying the calm and quiet of their world. The human colony on Arian was a place where everyone knew each other. The community was close-knit, and neighbors helped each other with a smile. The children played together in the open fields, and adults gathered for friendly conversations and communal activities. Life here was simple, but it was filled with joy and a deep sense of security. Sarah and Tom had moved to Arian several years ago, seeking a peaceful life away from the hustle and bustle of their previous lives. They found solace in the planet's gentle rhythms and embraced the slow, steady pace of their new home. Every morning, they would wake up to the sound of birds singing, and every evening, they would watch the sunset paint the sky in hues of pink and orange. The colony's leaders worked hard to maintain this peaceful existence. They had established friendly relations with other neighboring planets and had built a reputation for being fair and kind. The advanced technology of their colony ensured that they could live comfortably and safely without worrying about external threats. The people of Arian enjoyed the benefits of this technology, which made their lives easier and allowed them to focus on the things that truly mattered: family, friends, and nature. One day, as the sun began to rise and the first rays of light touched the landscape, a sense of normalcy enveloped the colony. Children were heading to their learning centers, adults were starting their daily tasks, and the birds were singing their morning songs. The Anderson family was no exception to this routine. Sarah was preparing breakfast while Tom readied Lily for her day of play. Lily ran around the garden, her laughter ringing through the air as she played with Sparky. Sarah and Tom exchanged smiles, their hearts swelling with love as they watched their daughter's joy. Little did they know that this day, which had begun so perfectly, would soon take a tragic turn. The colony's peace was about to be shattered. In the vast galaxy beyond, a formidable power known as the Galactic Empire was moving with a dark purpose. The Empire, known for its ruthlessness and ambition, had set its sights on expanding its influence. The quiet planet of Arian had become a target for their expansion. Without warning, the Empire's massive warships appeared in the skies above Arian. The sudden intrusion sent shockwaves through the colony. The once peaceful skies were now filled with the ominous presence of the Empire's ships. The serenity of the planet was replaced with a sense of dread as the colonists realized the gravity of the situation. The peaceful life that the Anderson family and their fellow colonists had enjoyed was about to be upended. The tranquility of Arian was being threatened by an aggressive force that sought to impose its will upon them. The colony's leaders scrambled to respond, but the Empire's attack was swift and brutal. As the Empire's forces descended upon Arian, the innocent lives that had once flourished in peace were now caught in a storm of violence and destruction. The calm, serene life that Lily and her family had known was being torn apart. The sense of security that had been a hallmark of their existence was replaced with fear and uncertainty. The peaceful planet of Arian, once a symbol of harmony, was now facing a dire threat. The attack had brought devastation to the colony, and the lives of its inhabitants were forever changed. The Empire's actions had shattered the tranquility of Arian, and the path ahead would be one of struggle and resistance. A tragic turn. The sun was high in the sky, casting a warm, golden light over the peaceful colony of Arian. The morning had begun like any other, with the soft sounds of nature filling the air. Children played in the fields, and adults went about their daily routines, unaware of the danger that loomed. Suddenly, The calm was shattered by a series of loud, thunderous noises. The peaceful skies turned dark as enormous ships from the Galactic Empire appeared, blocking out the sun. The people of Arion looked up in shock and disbelief as the massive warships descended upon their world. The Empire's ships were unlike anything they had ever seen, huge, menacing, and armed to the teeth. Panic spread through the colony like wildfire. Sirens blared, and the normally quiet streets erupted into chaos. People ran in all directions, trying to find safety or figure out what was happening. The once serene landscape was now a scene of confusion and fear. Sarah Anderson, who had been preparing breakfast, heard the sounds of destruction and rushed outside. She saw the Empire's ships raining down fire upon the colony. The once beautiful fields were now scorched, and buildings that had stood for years were crumbling under the assault. Her heart raced as she searched for her husband and daughter. Tom Anderson, who had been helping Lily get ready for her day of play, was already out in the yard. He looked up in horror as the ships continued their bombardment. He grabbed Lily and held her tightly, trying to shield her from the chaos. Sarah ran to them, her face pale with fear. In the midst of the attack, the once vibrant colony was now engulfed in smoke and debris. The people's homes were being destroyed, and the air was filled with the sounds of explosions and cries for help. The Galactic Empire's assault was relentless and merciless, leaving no time for the colonists to respond or defend themselves. Sarah, Tom, and Lily sought refuge in a small underground bunker that had been used for emergencies. The bunker was sturdy and well built, but it offered little comfort as the sounds of destruction echoed outside. Inside, Sarah tried to calm Lily, who was trembling and clinging to her parents. Tom paced nervously, his mind racing with worry for their safety and the safety of their friends and neighbors. The attack seemed to go on forever, with the Empire's ships showing no sign of letting up. The once peaceful world was now a war zone, and the people who had lived their lives in tranquility were now facing unimaginable horror. The Galactic Empire's forces were determined to crush any resistance and achieve their goal of domination. After what felt like hours, the sounds of the attack began to fade. The Empire's ships, having completed their assault, began to withdraw. The skies, once filled with dark, menacing ships, were now clear, but the damage left behind was catastrophic. The colony of Arion was in ruins, and the people were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. When Sarah and Tom emerged from the bunker with Lily, they were met with a scene of utter devastation. The landscape was unrecognizable, with buildings reduced to rubble and fires still burning. The once lush fields were now scorched and barren. The beautiful planet that had been their home was now a wasteland of destruction. As they looked around, Sarah and Tom saw the faces of their friends and neighbors, many of whom had suffered the same fate. The colony's peaceful existence had been violently torn apart, and the people were left to grieve and begin the difficult task of rebuilding. The loss of life was staggering, and the impact of the attack was deeply felt by everyone. The Galactic Empire's actions had not only destroyed their homes, but had also taken the lives of innocent people. Among the casualties was Lily's close friend, a child who had been in the same field playing just moments before the attack. Sarah and Tom were devastated. Their hearts ached with the loss of their friends and the destruction of their beloved colony. The once peaceful world of Arion had been forever changed, and the people were left to face a new reality of grief and uncertainty. The attack had marked a turning point for the people of Arion. The peaceful life they had once known was gone, replaced by a harsh new world where survival and revenge would become their primary concerns. The Galactic Empire's cruel and ruthless assault had ignited a fire within them, setting the stage for a struggle that would test their strength and resolve. The decision. The once vibrant colony of Arion was now a place of ruins and sorrow. The morning attack by the Galactic Empire had left the community shattered. Buildings were in rubble, fires still burned, and the air was thick with smoke and grief. The people of Arion were struggling to come to terms with the destruction that had been inflicted upon them. In the heart of this devastation, the leaders of the colony gathered in what remained of the central meeting hall. The large room, which had once been a place for celebrations and discussions, now looked like a war zone. Dust and debris covered the floor, and broken windows let in the smoky air. Despite the damage, the leaders knew that they had to make a crucial decision for the future of their people. Sarah and Tom Anderson, along with other community leaders, were present in the meeting. The weight of the day's events hung heavily on their shoulders. The colony's mayor, a wise and respected figure named Mayor Thompson, stood at the head of the table. His face was lined with worry and determination. He knew that the next steps they took would be critical for their survival. "We need to decide what to do next," Mayor Thompson said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "The Galactic Empire has shown no mercy. We cannot let them think that we will simply give up." The room was filled with murmurs of agreement. Everyone knew that they couldn't just wait and hope for the best. They needed to act swiftly and decisively to protect their remaining people and prevent further destruction. Sarah, her face smeared with dust and her eyes red from crying, spoke up. "We have to show them that we won't be easily defeated. We need to defend ourselves and make them understand that they made a grave mistake by attacking us." Tom nodded in agreement. "The Empire underestimated us. We have to prepare for another attack and make sure they know that we're ready to fight back." Another leader, Captain Harris, who had been in charge of the colony's defense forces, stood up. "We have some resources left, but we need more. We should reach out to our allies and request their support. We can't fight this battle alone." The discussion continued as the leaders debated their options. They knew that they needed to be strategic and careful in their planning. The Galactic Empire was a powerful enemy, and they had to be prepared for whatever came next. In the midst of the meeting, Lily's tragic death was a constant reminder of what was at stake. The leaders could not forget the innocent lives lost and the pain felt by the families affected. This only strengthened their resolve to take action. After much discussion, Mayor Thompson made a decision. "We will send a clear message to the Galactic Empire. We will warn them that if they dare to return, they will face our full wrath. We will not back down. We will fight to protect our home and our people." The room was silent for a moment as the gravity of the decision sank in. The leaders knew that issuing such a warning was a bold move. It would require them to mobilize their remaining forces, seek help from their allies, and prepare for a potential full-scale war. Sarah and Tom, along with the other leaders, began to make plans. They would send a message to the Galactic Empire, using every available means to ensure it was received. The message would be simple but powerful. "You have attacked us and taken innocent lives. Leave us in peace or face the consequences." Captain Harris started organizing the defense forces, working to repair and upgrade their equipment. The remaining resources were pooled together to strengthen their defenses and prepare for the possibility of another attack. Meanwhile, the communication teams reached out to their allies, explaining the situation and requesting their support. The leaders knew that they needed all the help they could get to stand against the Empire's might. As the preparations began, a sense of determination replaced the despair that had initially gripped the colony. The people of Arion, though still grieving, were ready to stand up and fight for their survival. They had lost their peace, but they would not lose their resolve. The decision to fight back was a turning point for the people of Arion. They were no longer passive victims. They were active defenders of their home. The Galactic Empire had awakened a fierce spirit within them, and they were prepared to show their enemy that they would not be easily defeated. With their plans in place and their message sent, the people of Arion braced themselves for what was to come. They knew that the path ahead would be difficult, but they were united in their determination to protect their home and honor the memory of those they had lost. The warning. After making the crucial decision to fight back, the leaders of Arion were filled with a renewed sense of purpose. They knew that sending a warning to the Galactic Empire was not just a gesture of defiance, but a critical step in their plan to protect their home and prevent further attacks. In the dimly lit command center, The atmosphere was tense as the leaders prepared to send their message. The room, once a hub of activity and planning, was now a symbol of their determination to stand firm. Screens flickered with data and maps, and communication devices were ready for the task ahead. Sarah and Tom Anderson, along with Mayor Thompson and Captain Harris, gathered around the central communication console. The console was a sophisticated piece of technology designed to send messages across vast distances. Its interface was complex, but the operators had worked tirelessly to ensure it was functioning perfectly. Mayor Thompson took a deep breath and addressed the group. "We need to make sure this message is clear and impactful. The Galactic Empire needs to understand that we will not be intimidated." Sarah nodded in agreement. "It has to be strong, but also precise. We need to convey our message without any room for misinterpretation." Captain Harris, who had been busy coordinating the defense efforts, stepped forward. "I'll make sure the message is transmitted using all available channels. We want to be sure it reaches them loud and clear." The team worked together to draft the message. They wanted it to be simple yet powerful, a statement of their resolve and a warning to the Empire. The message was written and reviewed carefully, ensuring it would be received with the gravity it intended. Once the message was finalized, the console was activated. The communication system buzzed to life as the message was transmitted across the galaxy. The leaders watched anxiously, hoping that their warning would reach the Galactic Empire and have the desired effect. The message read, "To the Galactic Empire. You have invaded our peaceful world, causing unimaginable destruction and loss of innocent lives. Your attack on our home has been met with grief and anger. We warn you now, leave us in peace or face the full force of our retaliation. This is not a threat but a promise. We will defend our home and our people with everything we have. We will not rest until justice is served and our world is protected. Consider this your final warning. The people of Arian." As the transmission concluded, the room fell silent. The weight of the message hung heavily in the air. The leaders knew that they had done all they could to ensure their warning was clear. Now, it was up to the Galactic Empire to decide how they would respond. The people of Arian awaited the response with a mix of hope and anxiety. They had put everything on the line with their warning. The message was not just about protecting their home. It was a declaration of their strength and unity. In the days that followed, the leaders continued to prepare for any possible response from the Galactic Empire. They fortified their defenses, repaired their damaged equipment, and worked tirelessly to ensure their people were ready for whatever came next. The communication teams monitored all channels for any reply from the Empire. Every day, the leaders anxiously checked for any sign that their message had been received and that the Empire was considering their warning. Despite the tension, there was a growing sense of determination among the people of Arian. They had faced a grave threat and responded with courage and resolve. The warning they had sent was more than just words. It was a testament to their spirit and their commitment to defending their world. As the days passed, the Galactic Empire's response remained unknown. The leaders and residents of Arian held their breath, waiting for any indication of the Empire's reaction. The uncertainty of the situation only heightened their sense of urgency and preparedness. The warning had been delivered, and the people of Arian had made their stand. Now they faced an uncertain future, but they did so with the knowledge that they had taken the first step in their fight for survival. The Galactic Empire had been put on notice, and the people of Arian were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Preparing for battle. In the aftermath of the Galactic Empire's brutal attack, the people of Arian were faced with the daunting task of preparing for an uncertain future. The once peaceful colony had been transformed into a battleground, and now it was up to the surviving inhabitants to ready themselves for the possibility of further conflict. At the heart of the preparations was the command center, now buzzing with activity. The room, once a place for routine meetings and planning, was now a hive of urgent and focused effort. Soldiers, engineers, and strategists worked side by side, their faces set with determination. Captain Harris, who had been leading the colony's defense efforts, was at the center of the action. He moved from one team to another, overseeing the repair and upgrading of their defenses. His presence was reassuring to the people, a symbol of their resolve to fight back against the Galactic Empire. Sarah and Tom Anderson, deeply involved in the preparations, were determined to ensure their daughter's safety and the security of their community. Sarah, who had always been a pillar of strength, took charge of organizing medical supplies and coordinating with local volunteers to set up emergency aid stations. Tom, on the other hand, worked closely with the engineers to assess and fortify the remaining defenses. One of the first priorities was to repair the damaged infrastructure. The attack had left many buildings in ruins, and essential services had been disrupted. Teams of workers were mobilized to clear debris, rebuild structures, and restore utilities. Every effort was made to ensure that the remaining facilities could support the colony's needs in the event of another attack. Alongside the rebuilding efforts, the defense forces began to upgrade their equipment. The Galactic Empire had demonstrated their advanced technology, and the people of Arion knew they needed to match that level of capability. Engineers worked tirelessly to enhance the colony's defenses, installing new weapon systems and improving the shield generators that had been damaged during the attack. The soldiers trained with renewed vigor, their drills and exercises becoming more intense and focused. They practiced combat maneuvers, simulated attacks, and defensive strategies. Each soldier was equipped with the latest gear and weaponry, and their training was designed to prepare them for the high-stakes battle that lay ahead. In addition to fortifying their defenses, the colony reached out to their allies for support. The message sent to the Galactic Empire had also been shared with neighboring planets and friendly factions. The response from their allies was encouraging. Several promised to send aid and reinforcements to help Arion in its time of need. The people of Arion, though deeply affected by the recent attack, were united in their resolve. They organized community meetings to keep everyone informed and involved. The leaders spoke to the residents, explaining the situation and the importance of their collective effort. The spirit of cooperation and determination was evident as families worked together to prepare for the possibility of another attack. Amidst all the preparation, there was a sense of camaraderie and resilience. The attack had brought the community closer together, and the shared experience of loss and recovery forged strong bonds among the residents. They knew that their survival depended on their unity and their ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. As the days passed, the preparations continued with a sense of urgency. Every aspect of the colony's defense was meticulously planned and executed. The command center was constantly abuzz with updates and coordination efforts, and the people of Arion worked tirelessly to ensure they were ready for whatever might come next. Despite the challenges and the fear that lingered, the people of Arion were determined to fight for their home. The Galactic Empire's attack had shown them the harsh reality of their situation, but it had also ignited a fierce resolve to defend their world and protect their future. The preparations for battle were not just about physical readiness. They were also about the will to stand up and fight for what was right. The people of Arion were prepared to face their enemy with courage and strength, knowing that their survival depended on their collective effort and unwavering determination. Empire's misjudgment. As the days turned into weeks, the Galactic Empire continued its operations in the galaxy, oblivious to the significant shift that had occurred on the colony of Arion. The Empire's leadership, confident in their superiority, dismissed the warning they had received from the people of Arion. To them, it was a mere nuisance, an insignificant threat from a small, outlying world. Inside the Empire's command ship, a sleek, imposing vessel that symbolized their might, the high-ranking officers gathered for a meeting. The ship's bridge was a maze of flashing lights and screens, displaying tactical information and reports from various parts of their domain. The officers were in high spirits, certain of their continued dominance. General Craven, a ruthless and calculating leader known for his efficiency, addressed the gathered officers. "The colony of Arion has sent us a warning," he began, his tone dismissive. "They believe that their small forces and meager defenses could pose a threat to us. We must not let their bravado distract us from our goals. Admiral Voss, who had overseen the initial attack, nodded in agreement. Their message is a sign of desperation. They are trying to appear stronger than they are. We should not waste resources on this insignificant world. The officers around them murmured in agreement, their confidence unwavering. They saw the warning as nothing more than an attempt to save face. The Galactic Empire had conquered countless worlds, and a small colony like Arian was hardly a challenge in their eyes. Meanwhile, back on Arian, the preparations for battle had reached a fever pitch. The colony's leadership had worked tirelessly to ready their defenses, but the Empire's misjudgment was about to be exposed. The people of Arian had faced devastation, but their spirit and determination were stronger than ever. General Craven and Admiral Voss were unaware that the people of Arian had been meticulously preparing for their return. The colony's leaders had used the time wisely, enhancing their defenses and fortifying their positions. What the Empire had seen as a minor setback was, in reality, a turning point for the people of Arian. The Empire's intelligence had underestimated the resolve and capabilities of the colonists. They had assumed that the attack had crushed their spirit, and that any resistance would be minimal. This misjudgment would prove costly. As the day of the anticipated attack approached, the Empire continued with its plans, confident that they would easily defeat any remaining resistance. They dispatched a fleet of ships, equipped with the latest weaponry and technology, to crush Arian once and for all. The Empire's leaders expected a swift and decisive victory. The fleet, a formidable force of advanced warships, approached Arian with the same arrogance that had marked their previous attack. Their commanders prepared for a routine operation, expecting little more than a quick mop-up of a defeated enemy. However, the Galactic Empire was about to encounter a reality they had not anticipated. As the fleet entered the outer orbit of Arian, they were met with a surprising sight. The colony, once in ruins, had been transformed into a fortress of resistance. The defenses were fully operational, and the people of Arian stood ready to defend their world with everything they had. The Empire's fleet was met with a barrage of fire from the colony's newly upgraded defenses. The weapons systems, which had been painstakingly repaired and enhanced, were now fully functional and ready for battle. The surprise attack caught the Empire off guard, and their initial confidence quickly turned to shock. General Craven and Admiral Voss watched in disbelief as their forces were engaged in a fierce battle. The small, insignificant world they had underestimated was proving to be a formidable opponent. The colonists fought with a determination and skill that the Empire had not anticipated. The battle raged on, and the Empire's fleet struggled to adapt to the unexpected resistance. The once easy victory they had anticipated was slipping away, replaced by a fight for survival. The Empire's misjudgment had led them into a conflict they were not prepared for, and the cost of their arrogance was becoming clear. As the conflict continued, the Galactic Empire's leaders were forced to confront the reality of their mistake. The people of Arian, far from being defeated, had turned the tables and were showing the Empire that they were not to be underestimated. The battle for Arian was more than just a fight for survival. It was a testament to the strength and resolve of a people who refused to be conquered. The Galactic Empire's misjudgment had ignited a fierce resistance, and the outcome of the battle would determine the fate of both worlds. The battle starts. The silence of space was shattered as the Galactic Empire's fleet entered the outer orbit of Arian. The once peaceful planet now braced itself for the impending clash. The people of Arian, despite their previous losses, had transformed their colony into a fortress of determination. The moment of confrontation had arrived. On the command bridge of the Empire's flagship, General Craven and Admiral Voss were confident of an easy victory. The crew moved efficiently, their faces showing the same arrogance that had marked their dismissal of Arian's warning. The fleet was a symbol of the Empire's might, and they expected this battle to be a mere formality. Below, on Arian's surface, the air was charged with anticipation. The colony's defenders were stationed at their posts, ready for the fight of their lives. Sarah and Tom Anderson, along with other leaders, coordinated the final preparations. The colony's upgraded defenses were now fully operational, and every soldier was in position. The first sign of the battle began with a distant hum as the Empire's ships moved into attack range. The defenders, having anticipated this moment, were quick to react. The planet's defense systems roared to life, and the once quiet sky was filled with the glow of energy shields and weapons. "Deploy the interceptors," Captain Harris ordered through the comms. The interceptors, small but agile fighter ships, launched from their hangars and soared into space. They formed a defensive perimeter around Arian, ready to engage any enemy craft that attempted to breach the colony's defenses. The Empire's fleet, with its sleek and powerful warships, unleashed a barrage of firepower. Laser blasts and energy missiles streaked through the void, aimed at Arian's defenses. The initial assault was intense, and the defenders braced for impact. The colony's shields flared as they absorbed the incoming attacks, holding firm against the onslaught. Inside the command center, the atmosphere was tense. Monitors displayed the battle in real time, showing the Empire's ships and the colony's defensive systems clashing. Sarah and Tom worked alongside the command team, monitoring the situation and making crucial decisions. The first wave of Empire's forces tried to break through the outer defenses. The interceptors engaged the enemy fighters, darting around the larger warships and targeting their vulnerable spots. The space around Arian became a chaotic battlefield, filled with explosions and flashes of light. Despite their advanced technology, the Empire's fleet faced unexpected resistance. The enhanced defenses of Arian proved to be more effective than anticipated. The defenders, motivated by their determination to protect their home, fought with a skill and resolve that surprised their enemies. General Craven watched from the bridge of his flagship, his confidence beginning to waver. The initial assault had not gone as smoothly as he had expected. The resistance was fiercer, and the Empire's forces were struggling to gain the upper hand. "Adjust our tactics," Craven ordered, his voice tense. "We need to breach their defenses quickly. We cannot afford to waste time here." The Empire's ships shifted their approach, coordinating their attacks to target the colony's weaker points. They focused on overwhelming the defenses with a concentrated assault, trying to find a gap in the shield coverage. On the ground, the defenders fought with everything they had. Soldiers manned their stations, firing back at the enemy with determination. The colony's ground-based defenses, including missile launchers and laser turrets, joined the fight, targeting the Empire's ships as they approached. The battle was a fierce struggle, with each side pushing their limits. The defenders of Arian were driven by the need to protect their home, while the Empire's forces were driven by their mission to crush what they had seen as a minor rebellion. As the battle continued, the people of Arian proved their resilience. The colony's defenses held strong, and the defenders fought with a unity that gave them strength. The Empire's fleet faced a reality they had not expected: a determined and capable adversary that refused to be easily defeated. The first phase of the battle was a testament to the bravery and resolve of Arian's defenders. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, they stood their ground and fought back with everything they had. The Galactic Empire's misjudgment had led them into a fierce and challenging conflict, and the outcome of the battle was far from certain. The fight for Arian had begun, and it was clear that neither side would back down easily. The colony's defenders, though facing a formidable enemy, were prepared to fight for their survival and protect their world against all odds. Turning the tide. The battle for Arian raged on, with the conflict growing more intense by the hour. Despite their fierce resistance, the defenders were struggling to hold their ground against the overwhelming might of the Galactic Empire's fleet. The once clear advantage seemed to be slipping away, and the fate of the colony hung in the balance. Inside the command center, Sarah and Tom Anderson watched the situation unfold with growing concern. The monitors displayed the fierce exchanges of fire between the Empire's fleet and the colony's defenses. The initial confidence of the Empire was evident, but the tenacity of Arian's defenders had made the battle far more challenging than anticipated. General Craven, aboard his flagship, was growing frustrated. The unexpected resistance had disrupted his plans, and his fleet was struggling to break through the defenses. His orders were increasingly urgent as he sought to regain control of the situation. "Concentrate all firepower on their main shield generator," Craven commanded. "We need to disable their defenses and force them into submission." The Empire's ships adjusted their tactics, focusing their fire on the colony's primary shield generator. The concentrated assault was powerful, and the shield flickered under the intense pressure. The defenders fought desperately to keep the generator operational, knowing that its failure would leave the colony vulnerable. Amid the chaos, Captain Harris made a crucial decision. He had observed the Empire's tactics and noticed a pattern in their attacks. With this insight, he gathered his team and devised a counter-strategy. The goal was to turn the tide of the battle and shift the advantage back to Arian's defenders. "Deploy the reserve forces and activate the countermeasures," Harris instructed. "We need to disrupt their concentrated assault and create an opening for a counterattack." The reserve forces, previously held in readiness, were swiftly deployed. They launched a coordinated assault on the Empire's attacking ships, targeting their vulnerable spots and drawing their attention away from the shield generator. The Empire's fleet, caught off guard by the sudden shift in tactics, struggled to adapt. On the ground, the defenders rallied as the new strategy began to take effect. The coordinated counterattack provided a much-needed boost to their morale. Soldiers and engineers worked together to reinforce their defenses and repair any damage sustained during the intense fighting. The tide of the battle began to shift. With the Empire's fleet distracted and their focus divided, the defenders of Arian seized the opportunity to launch a counteroffensive. The upgraded weapons systems and renewed resolve of the colony's forces began to make a difference on the battlefield. General Craven watched in disbelief as the situation changed. The Empire's fleet, once dominant, was now facing a formidable and unexpected resistance. The counterattack from Arian had disrupted their plans and turned the battle into a more evenly matched conflict. "Recalibrate the targeting systems and focus on their remaining defenses," Craven ordered, his voice tight with frustration. "We cannot let them regain control." Despite the Empire's efforts to regain the upper hand, the defenders of Arian were now fully engaged. The colony's forces pushed forward, exploiting the gaps in the Empire's defenses created by their counteroffensive. The battle was far from over, but the shift in momentum was significant. Sarah and Tom, working closely with Captain Harris, coordinated the final phases of their strategy. They ensured that every available resource was utilized effectively, and the colony's defenses were optimized for the changing dynamics of the battle. As the battle continued, the defenders of Arian showed their resilience and adaptability. The tide of the conflict had turned, and the once unyielding Empire now faced a determined and resourceful opponent. The unexpected turn of events was a testament to the courage and unity of the people of Arian. The struggle was intense, but the shift in momentum provided a glimmer of hope. The battle for Arian was evolving, and the outcome remained uncertain. However, the defenders had proven that they were capable of standing up to the Empire and fighting for their survival. The tide had turned, and the people of Arian were determined to see their fight through to the end. With every challenge they faced, they grew stronger, more united, and more resolute in their determination to protect their home and secure their future. Victory and retreat. The battle for Arian had reached a critical juncture. After a fierce and grueling struggle, the defenders of the colony had managed to turn the tide against the Galactic Empire's fleet. The once overwhelming force now faced a formidable resistance that had shifted the balance of power. As the Empire's flagship, under the command of General Craven, continued to engage in the battle, the situation on the battlefield became increasingly dire for the invaders. The colony's defenses, bolstered by the successful counteroffensive and the determination of its people, had pushed the Empire's fleet to the brink. General Craven, His face etched with frustration and disbelief, watched as his fleet struggled to maintain its position. The tide of the battle had turned dramatically, and the Empire's once dominant advantage was slipping away. The flagship shook with the impact of enemy fire, and the lights on the bridge flickered as the damage mounted. "Status report," Craven demanded, his voice sharp and tense. An officer at the control panel quickly relayed the grim news. "General, our forces are sustaining heavy losses. The defenders have successfully neutralized several of our ships, and their counterattacks are proving highly effective. We're losing control of the battlefield." Craven's frustration was palpable. The Empire had underestimated the resolve of the people of Arian, and the unexpected resistance had taken a heavy toll on their forces. The situation was becoming untenable, and the prospect of a complete defeat loomed large. On the surface of Arian, the defenders sensed their hard-fought victory within reach. The colony's forces, though exhausted, pressed their advantage. The Empire's ships, once the aggressors, were now in full retreat. The defenders, fueled by their determination and the support of their allies, pressed on with renewed vigor. Captain Harris, coordinating the final stages of the battle, issued orders to maximize the pressure on the retreating Empire fleet. "Continue the assault on their remaining ships. We need to make sure they cannot regroup or launch another attack." The defenders' ships, along with the ground-based defenses, focused their fire on the Empire's retreating vessels. The once mighty fleet was now a fractured force, struggling to escape the relentless assault from Arian's defenders. The sight of the Empire's ships retreating was a powerful symbol of the colony's resilience and strength. Sarah and Tom Anderson, watching from the command center, felt a surge of relief and triumph. The battle had been hard-fought, and the stakes had been incredibly high. But now, the sight of the Empire's fleet retreating was a victory they had longed for. Their determination to protect their home had been rewarded. As the Empire's ships made their retreat, the defenders of Arian prepared to secure their victory. The immediate threat was diminishing, but the aftermath of the battle still required careful attention. The command center was abuzz with activity as teams worked to assess the damage and ensure the safety of their people. General Craven, realizing that further resistance was futile, gave the order for a full retreat. "All ships, disengage and fall back. We're pulling out." The Empire's fleet, battered and demoralized, began to withdraw from the battlefield. The once formidable warships retreated in an orderly fashion, their escape marked by a trail of damaged vessels and debris. The defenders watched as the Empire's ships vanished into the distance, their retreat a clear sign of their defeat. As the dust settled and the battle subsided, the people of Arian took stock of their victory. The struggle had been fierce, and the losses had been significant, but the colony had managed to defend itself against the Empire's aggression. The victory was a testament to their courage, unity, and resilience. In the aftermath, the focus shifted to recovery and rebuilding. The command center coordinated efforts to repair the damage, provide aid to those affected by the battle, and strengthen their defenses against any future threats. The victory over the Galactic Empire had been hard-won, and the people of Arian were determined to ensure that their home remained secure. As the defenders celebrated their hard-earned victory, they knew that the battle was a crucial turning point. The retreat of the Empire's fleet marked the beginning of a new chapter for Arian, one filled with hope and renewed determination. The colony had faced an immense challenge and emerged victorious, ready to face whatever lay ahead with strength and resolve.